Hi, my name is Brent Satoris. I'm at Search Engine Journal booth here at PubCon Vegas, and I'm here with Annalise Kaylor from Aim Clear, and she is speaking tomorrow about Facebook. But not only that, but she's also extremely knowledgeable about Facebook ads, and so I wanted to get you in here and talk to you a little bit about, what you're speaking about, but also kind of dive a little deeper and figure out a little bit of your knowledge on Facebook ads. So what are you actually speaking about tomorrow when you talk about Facebook ads?
Okay, so tomorrow I'm actually speaking more on the organic side of Facebook, but it does kind of parlay into the ads in that we're talking about EdgeRank, or the algorithm formerly known as EdgeRank, which we all know kind of went away, and they've got graph search now. And my co-panelist is going to dive into some of the factors that influence the algorithm, and I'm going to dive into why engagement is killing your social media strategy and how marketers are completely obliterating all of the beneficial data from Facebook because they're gaming the algorithm and they're not mining anything meaningful from it.
That's very interesting to say that the engagement's killing their social media strategy. I mean, obviously it's a strong statement, but one of the things that I think, I thought it was interesting that they got away with EdgeRank, and then, they won't even tell you what it is. I contacted them. I said, well, what's the new algorithm? We can't tell you. I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, I thought it was very interesting because it all boiled down to interaction. So what do you mean when you say, can you go a step further and explain what you mean by engagement's actually killing their strategy? Because engagement is supposed to be what everybody watching this is going to say, well, that's what we want in order to increase our visibility.
You absolutely want engagement, but you need the right kind of engagement. And by that I mean, if you're posting a picture that says, like this, if Friday is your favorite day of the week, and you're Coca-Cola, that's a really crappy engagement metric, because what does that tell you about your fan base? It's not qualifying anything about your brand, doesn't really relate to your product in any way, there's nothing meaningful about it. Sure, you can have fun and kind of quirky posts now and again, but many brands make the mistake of doing that a lot. That is their strategy, to get as many likes or shares or comments, but they're doing it in a way that pollutes their data pool. We all joined Facebook because it's got a lot of qualified data that we can use to inform the decisions we make as marketers for our brand. So if you're polluting that with a bunch of metrics that say, oh, but we had 4,000 likes on this one post, well, sure you did. You made a kitten with a call to action that said like this.
But let's say, for instance, a company might come back and say, sure, you as a marketer went in for data, but we went in because we wanted to build an actual community, and we want to keep our community engaged and happy, and we just felt like sharing this funny picture. What do you think about that, in general, about that comment that somebody might say?
Sure. So building a community is great. In fact, I think that's the best marketing you can do, is when you build a community, you have brand ambassadors, people who support you, who will come to your defense if, heaven forbid, anything goes wrong. You've got a whole bunch of people that are going to evangelize your products when you build community, and then you can back off the marketing. But the problem is you're not building community around the right things. You can do the quirky pictures, but make it somehow relevant. A great example.
That's what I was going to ask you. The next thing I was going to say is, quirky pictures are really kind of fun, and people have been told a lot, even by myself, hey, you do some fun pictures. So how do you determine what's too far from your brand in order to do a quirky picture?
Okay, so here's an example of one of my favorite brands doing it right. We all know about Talk Like a Pirate Day, or at least a lot of us do, those of us who are geeky enough to.
All the cool people.
Cool, right, cool, not geeky. And Lush Cosmetics is a pretty common beauty brand, and they have a little bath bomb, a little thing you drop in your bath, shaped like a little robot. They put him in a pirate hat, and they created a landscape of like a water and a pirate ship and everything else, and made a picture and said, happy Talk Like a Pirate Day. Now, did it have anything directly to do with their products? Not necessarily, but they used their products in a really creative way that made it relevant for Lush to celebrate Happy Talk Like a Pirate Day.
So when a company, but I'm going to push you a little bit further on this, and I'm going to say, okay, well, that's very creative, and that's a great example, but let's say, for instance, you're trying to update stuff on a daily basis, and let's say you're doing 4 or 5 updates a day, and you want to do one funny picture. Where do you think the line really is drawn where they step over the line with these things? Obviously, it's easy to say, look, I'm an airline and I post a picture of a cat, right? Would you say post a picture of a cat in an airline? Something like that? I mean, is that where the line really kind of becomes? There has to be a little bit of correlation, or does there need to be a medium amount of correlation?
I would say this. I'm famous for saying, if what you're posting doesn't tie back somehow to a metric that you're tracking as part of your strategy, why are you posting it? So, for instance, in the example you gave of 4 or 5 times a day, ask yourself before you're posting this, is this something our fans will appreciate? Why is that? Do you know your demographic well enough to know that they're going to like this and think it's fun because they have that relationship with you? Have you built a community where you have that kind of a relationship? If you're not yet there, it's just a gimmick. But if you're at a place where you've built community and you've got people rallying around and talking to your brand and, you know, having these conversations about the things they like and you can get away with it, then great. But if you have to ask yourself whether or not this will fly, that's your warning sign.
Gotcha.
You're about to cross the line.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, they wanted to ask you more questions, they wanted to get in touch with your company, can you give us some of your contact details so that the viewers can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. I can always be reached at Annabelle Blue on Twitter. You can also reach out to AimClear on Twitter. Otherwise, you can just go to aimclear.com. We've got a contact us form, and it gets the right people, and we'll get it routed to the right area, and we'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the advice, and I'm sorry, I know I pushed you a little bit further, but I really appreciate you riding along, giving us a lot of good information, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Brent.